Just fucking do it. Subscribe now.
And he may have taken seller finance, but I bet you $1 to $7 latte at Starbucks, and nobody asked him. Nobody asked. And but when you do a share for share deal, which Pixar was, Disney acquired Pixar stock for stock. That is like a seller finance.
They bought him stock for stock?
Yeah.
Meaning they traded?
They traded stock. They gave Pixar so many 2.3 shares or whatever it was of Disney stock.
And there was no cash involved?
None.
Case 2 of Darryl. It's a new one.
Okay.
So it was seller finance. It was based on the finance of the worth of the shares.
And Disney was the bigger company?
Oh, yeah. Shit, by 10, 50 times they're bigger.
Oh, okay.
So a multi-billion-dollar company bought, a little $270 million, whatever it was.
It sold for billions.
Yeah, it was. Yeah, but I mean, it sold for billions because it's easy for you to remember. The shares, even though this is a much higher level, are monopoly money. So whether you paid 500 monopoly dollars or 1,000 monopoly dollars doesn't make any difference. And sellers fall in love with their companies that they founded. But Pixar was not founded by Steve Jobs. He was one of the initial people that kept it alive for $50 million out of his own money. But he wasn't in love with it the way he was in love with Apple.
Question for you. When you had Great Western, did each one of the assets lie in its own subsidiary, or did you ever amalgamate into one core?
No, there was one holding company and there was a bunch of subsidiaries.
Understood. Okay, cool.
And some of the subsidiaries were big enough to have their own boards. I happened to be, as I recall, the chairman of the coal company. It was the biggest subsidiary we had, but I wasn't on any of the other boards. And we had a CFO who was the CFO of the holding company, and he was the CFO of 3 or 4 of the subsidiaries. But normally, the companies you're going to be buying have no boards. Maybe an owner or owners, and they formed a quasi board, but they're not going to have boards. And some companies that don't have boards should have boards. They just never got around to it. And some of the companies that are family owned or with family representation will be family boards. And as I told you, if you think it's hard to fire your cousin, just imagine if they're all on the board and you grew up with them playing stickball, baseball, soccer, and even though you may be hard, for example, Tony can't fire Jason, his brother. Ain't going to happen in a million years. We've had that discussion a year ago. Not that I suggested fire Jason. Jason of the two is probably does more work, is more efficient. But one of the 67-year-olds which is a key employee, should have been gone 15 years ago. He's still there. He doesn't do anything, but he's still there. Their mom's still there. But the rest of them they got rid of. But they weren't able to get rid of, and it's arguably, I understand, their mom and their favorite uncle or whatever it is. But that's why I'd rather have the boards clean of having relatives.
And when, just last question, then it's your deal. When each one of those subsidiaries, did it ever happen that Great Western, as the holdco, was the borrower, or was it still the subsidiary?
No, well, sometimes we used because we had a line of credit that was in the tens of millions, and so when we wanted to get something done, we just drew down the line of credit. We told the bank we're going to draw down. And we used the line of credit, and then we refinanced it.
Understood.
At the subsidiary level, and then paid back the line of credit that was at the holding company level.
And the holdco line of credit was backed by what?
The holdco line of credit was backed by, roughly speaking, 10% of our yearly revenues of almost $500 million. So our line of credit was about $50 million.
Understood. So then it was backed by the flow through of the revenues.
Yes, but I mean, when a company signs for it, it's pledging indirectly all its assets.
Correct.
You know, its name and its assets. But the and we had lines of credit. At some of the subsidiary levels. I'm pretty sure the exploration company had one, the drilling company, the construction pipeline company, all had their own credit. The construction pipeline and the drilling company both had their own credits because they were individually taking on state-owned or state government contracts, and the state, Kentucky or whoever, didn't want to have to go through a subsidiary to get to the money that they were owed. And both of the companies had enough money that they could stand alone. And in fact, when Parker Drilling bought the company many years ago, a New York Stock Exchange firm, they hived off assets. They sold the construction pipeline, they sold the drilling company, and they also split up the exploration into South America, which we were, and North America. And this was all a Canadian company to begin with. And I mean, I believe that the board of Bow Valley wasn't cognizant of the worth. I'm positive they weren't cognizant of the worth, because we bought the company for like 60 cents a barrel of oil. And oil was then $30 a barrel. So, and I'm forever an oil and gas genius, which I'm not, but I just kept swinging, and the biggest home run I ever hit was the market's collapsing, and actually, it was one more swing, I'm going to take one more, and if this is they're going to throw me out. And as it sailed over the fence, and then I'm a genius. So, but it's every asset that we bought, the last 6 or 8 assets, the asset that dropped to 20% in value before the ink dried on the contract, because oil was going south. And I kept just convincing everybody that, not dissimilar to my argument about climate change. Yeah, it's all cyclical, but these cycles can be long fuckers, boy. And fortunately, it wasn't thousands of years cycle. It was just a few weeks. But, and it's, like you're smiling now, but I mean, you keep smiling when you're getting rejected time after time. And I used to have in one bank building in New York, I'd have 6 or 7 meetings in the same building, because they were all there. And I just, and by the time the 5th or 6th presentation, I used to jump up and down and slap my face, to get blood in my, so I didn't look like I was drained white. But all good experience. Okay.
Go for it, brother.
Okay. So this company is 18 Wheels Logistics.
I'll type up your notes.
Provides warehousing, distribution services.
This is the company I know.
Yeah.
From before.
Yeah.
Okay, go ahead.
It's a third-party logistics company. Yeah. So to give a high level, so I had 4 companies. 2 of them sold, but I'm still CEO for the next 2 years, roughly.
Private equity.
Private equity out of Rhode Island. 2 more I still own. This is one of them. This one...
Oh, this is the one you're trying to sell?
Yeah.
Roger that. Okay, cool.
This one, I have 3 other partners. I had majority ownership, about 60%, but I just... By the time if this does sell happen, then I'll have 31% before selling, because I would have sold 31% to one of the other partners, which we've already displayed. So I guess the important part of the business is